Yes, my friends, unfortunately, it's hard to keep believing in the Miami Dolphins. Most of us were expecting a change for this new year, but it looks like the same old excuses will continue. In the last few hours, I saw something that really worried me. I'll tell you everything, but first, make sure you've already hit the like button if you've been a Miami Dolphins fan since the 70s. There are people here who were at the first game. It's great to see you. Now, let's get to the point. The Miami Dolphins' recent end-of-season press conference caused a stir among the fan base, and there's no hiding it. Frustration is growing in South Florida. Dolphins general manager Chris Grier, alongside coach Mike McDaniel, took the stage to talk about the state of the team, but the message left more questions than answers. Self-accountability was in short supply, and what fans heard was a troubling mix of excuses, accusations, and ambiguous plans for the future. One of the biggest topics of discussion has been Tyreek Hill. Despite rumors swirling about a possible trade request, McDaniel and Grier have vehemently denied it. However, the tension in the locker room tells a different story. Comments from Bradley Chubb and Alec Ingold have hinted at underlying friction. Chubb's stance of keeping moving forward with players who want to be here and Ingold's frustration with Hill's behavior have raised eyebrows. The mood around the team suggests that while the Dolphins front office is downplaying the issue publicly, behind closed doors, Hill's situation is a hot topic. Fans will remember that last year, the Dolphins explored moving up in the draft. They were eyeing wide receiver Rome Odunze, a potential long-term replacement for Hill. It's worth noting that while the Dolphins held off on giving Hill a new contract, there's a sense that the front office would entertain trade offers if the right deal came along. There's no doubt Hill's elite talent has been invaluable on the field, but whispers about his attitude and long-term fit persist. If Miami were to move on from Hill, securing a top-tier wideout in the draft or through free agency would be imperative. But let's talk about a recurring problem for Miami, the offensive line. It's a topic that has haunted the Dolphins for years, and despite assurances from Grier and McDaniel that they're committed to improving it, fans are rightfully skeptical. The Dolphins' offensive line struggles led to quarterback injuries and stalled the run game. Despite these glaring issues, Grier doubled down on his belief that the team has good pieces in place. He praised players like Austin Jackson and undrafted rookie Patrick Paul, but fans know better. The line wasn't good enough this season, and the lack of action to address it early on hurt the team. The Dolphins are at a crossroads when it comes to their draft strategy. There's chatter among fans and analysts about targeting a tight end with their first pick, but that seems unlikely given the team's needs. Chris Grier isn't known for prioritizing tight ends that high in the draft. Instead, the focus should be on offensive linemen like Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks, players who can immediately contribute at guard or tackle. Unfortunately, both are projected to be off the board by the time the Dolphins pick. So what's the plan? Grier's history shows he prefers flexibility, and fans can expect Miami to explore trading up if they believe they can land a game-changing player in the trenches. Beyond the draft, free agency will be a pivotal time for the Dolphins. There's speculation that the team might bring back familiar faces like Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones as depth pieces. But after the disappointing performance of the offensive line this year, fans are understandably wary. Miami can't afford to roll out the same group and expect different results. Grier's comment that it's time to invest again in the line is a step in the right direction, but actions will speak louder than words. Perhaps the most concerning part of the press conference was the lack of clarity on discipline within the team. Reports emerged about players consistently being late to meetings and the coaching staff issuing fines. McDaniel's ability to command the locker room is being questioned, and it's fair to wonder if the young coach has a firm grip on his team. Discipline issues at this level are unacceptable and hint at deeper cultural problems within the organization. When the discussion shifted to the quarterback position, Grier confirmed that the Dolphins will explore all options in the offseason, including the draft. While Tua Tagovailoa's durability remains a concern, Grier expressed confidence in his leadership and growth this season. Still, Miami will look to solidify the backup quarterback role. Names like Russell Wilson and Andy Dalton have been floated as potential free agent targets, but drafting a young quarterback remains a viable option. Jackson Dart from Ole Miss is a name to watch, a potential steal in the second or third round. Dart's skill set and potential upside could make him an ideal developmental prospect for the Dolphins. Overall, the press conference left fans with a lot to digest. The Dolphins have significant holes to fill and tough decisions to make. Whether it's resolving the Tyreek Hill situation, revamping the offensive line, or finding a reliable backup for Tua, Miami's front office needs to deliver this offseason. Fans are tired of hearing promises. They want results. So, Dolphins Nation, what do you think? Is it time to move on from Tyreek Hill if the right offer comes along? Should Miami go all in on upgrading the offensive line, or should they prioritize skill positions in the draft? And what about the quarterback situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get the conversation started. Another key issue that came out of the press conference was Chris Grier's stance on the offensive line depth chart and the team's long-term strategy at those critical positions. Despite years of struggles in pass protection and run blocking, it feels like the Dolphins have been reluctant to make the necessary investments to fix their line for good. Grier stated that it's time to reinvest in the offensive line, but fans can't help but wonder, why did it take so long for the front office to acknowledge what's been obvious for years? The Dolphins' line issues weren't just an inconvenience this season, they were outright destructive. Let's be real, Miami's inability to protect their quarterbacks has been a recurring nightmare. Skylar Thompson was forced into action in crucial moments, and while he showed flashes of potential, he paid the price behind a collapsing line. And yes, while Tua Tagovailoa's injuries weren't directly caused by the offensive line, the poor protection definitely played a part in putting the Dolphins in precarious situations throughout the season. What's frustrating is that the team's contingency plans seemed shaky from the start. Grier admitted that injuries to key players like Austin Jackson and Terron Armstead hurt the Dolphins, but his backup plan? Undrafted rookie Patrick Paul and depth pieces like Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones. That's not a recipe for success in the NFL. You need quality starters and reliable backups. And let's face it, Miami hasn't had a truly dominant offensive line since the days of Richie Incognito and Mike Pouncey. It's been a revolving door of underperforming players and questionable draft picks. Fans want to see the team take a more aggressive approach to fixing the trenches. Some of the names Grier mentioned in the press conference, like Will Campbell and Kelvin Banks, would certainly be upgrades. But realistically, both of those guys will likely be gone by the time Miami is on the clock. So what's next? Grier hinted at the possibility of trading up in the draft, something he's done in the past. If the Dolphins are serious about solving their offensive line issues, they need to make bold moves, not just hope that the right players fall into their lap. And let's not forget the discipline concerns raised during the press conference. The idea that professional athletes were consistently late to meetings and needed to be fined is baffling. This isn't high school football, it's the NFL. Discipline issues like this point to a potential leadership gap in the locker room. Mike McDaniel is a brilliant offensive mind, but can he effectively manage a locker room full of big personalities? It's a fair question to ask, especially after hearing reports that these issues persisted throughout the season. The Tyreek Hill situation only adds more fuel to the fire. While Grier and McDaniel did their best to downplay the trade rumors, the body language and tone during the press conference told a different story. There's no denying that Hill is one of the most electrifying players in the league. His speed, playmaking ability, and swagger have made him a fan favorite in Miami. But if there's tension in the locker room, and if Hill's long-term commitment to the team is in question, the Dolphins need to make a decision sooner rather than later. Here's the thing, Miami can't afford to have a repeat of last season's drama. If Hill isn't fully bought in, and if the Dolphins front office is seriously considering moving him, they need to do it in a way that maximizes their return. Trading a player of Hill's caliber would be a massive move, and it would change the identity of this team. But if they're going to explore that route, it needs to be part of a larger plan to reshape the offense and build around Tua. Now, it's your turn, Dolphins fans. What do you think about the state of the team? Should Miami consider moving on from Tyreek Hill if the right offer comes along? What's your priority in the draft? Offensive linemen, wide receivers, or maybe even a quarterback? And what do you think about the discipline issues in the locker room? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going. The offseason has just begun, and it's going to be a wild ride.